Hello everyone, the Shadow Picture here, and you're watching All Things Nintendo. Today, we'll be talking about what the next Nintendo console should not have. On May 6, 2024, Nintendo made a tweet saying that they're going to reveal the next Nintendo console within its official year, before March of 2025. I think we can all agree that we need a new Nintendo console since 2020. But we can't blame them since the Wii U was a flop and 2020 was, well, 2020. But this is the perfect time to have the next Nintendo console out. For this video, I'll be talking about what the next Nintendo console should not have that the OG Nintendo Switch does. Also, I think that the next Nintendo console is going to be like the Switch with its hybrid concept. I made another video just like this one explaining what the next Nintendo console should have. Watch it first if you want to know. With that all said, let's get on with the video. The first thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is broken controllers. The controllers for the Switch are terrible. They can easily drift the controller, which makes them unplayable due to the bad controller design. Make it to where the controller cannot collect dust that ruins the controllers. The second thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is unfinished games. Nintendo needs to release their games that are 100% finished. No DLC, microtransactions, loot boxes, free updates, none of that. It just ruins the game altogether. And plus, we already paid for the game in full, so why we have to pay for extra content when the extra content costs more than the original game itself? That's funny, but seriously, we should not pay for extra content. Give us the whole game that we waited for since its announcement. The third thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is paid online. Like I said from my last video, the Nintendo Switch Online sucks because you're paying for an online subscription that can lag at times. This is bad because you're paying for a laggy service while you're paying for other bills at your crib, and the Nintendo Network was a better version because it's free and it rarely lags. Online should be free and it should not lag. The fourth thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is a handful of ports. I know that this is the Wii U's fault due to its poor sales, but we need more original games on the next Nintendo console. We missed out on actual Switch games that Nintendo never seemed to create due to them porting the Wii U games. I think it's only appropriate to port bad games and make them better, as a redemption arc, since their original run was not their best appearance. The fifth thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is low battery. The Switch can go up to 9 hours of battery, which I think is pretty low. For the next Nintendo console, the battery should be at least 12 hours and can go up to 24. It seems like I'm asking for too much, but the Wii U's Pro Controller can go up to 80 hours on a single charge. I'm just being generous. Make the console more powerful to not make these mistakes again. The sixth thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is Inferior Revisions. Third-party games on Nintendo consoles are a good thing because they care enough to put their games on Nintendo's consoles. But due to the weakness of modern Nintendo consoles, we missed out on a lot of third-party games like most of the Final Fantasy franchise since the Nintendo 64, especially Final Fantasy VII. And even if we get a promised third-party game, it's objectively inferior compared to its Xbox and PlayStation versions. Make the console more powerful so multiple developers can have a reason to have third-party games on their consoles. The seventh thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is less internal storage. From this point forward, each Nintendo console's internal storage should be at least half a terabyte, or 512 gigs. Since games are becoming bigger, that should be the standard size. The eighth thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is low frame rate. The frame rate can drop like a fly for certain games because, like I said before, make the console more powerful to not have any frame rate drops. Seriously, we're in the 8th and 9th generation of gaming, not the 5th anymore. So why are we still dropping frames when there's 5 movie things on the screen that can cause the frames to drop? The ninth thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is lacking of games. The Switch barely has any sports games. There are not enough sports games, and even if there are some sports games, they're pretty much bad because there's no substance that can make the games different from each other. At least give a single player mode to add to the replay value. The 10th and last thing that the next Nintendo console should not have is the same similar games. The GameCube has to have the best Nintendo games because they experimented with their games. They made their games different while still being in their respective franchises, if that makes sense. It changed the game. Nowadays, each new entry of every Nintendo franchise has the game feeling its previous entry, but a bit of gameplay tweaking. Like I said in my last video, even though these suggestions are unrealistic, I feel that if Nintendo does not do these things, we are going to have the best Nintendo console of all time if that's the case. Basically, in a nutshell, the next Nintendo console should have all the positive aspects of the Wii U and the Switch. Got nothing else for this video. If you want me to tweak up my content, like and subscribe, and I share more Nintendo content just like this. I'm the Shadow Picture, and I'll see you guys very soon. Later.